Hey guys, tonight we're diving into a world where the glow of amber isn't just pretty, it's your lifeline. Picture yourself in a Viking longhouse, the fire crackling, casting shadows on wooden walls carved with runes. Outside, the Nordic wind howls like a wolf, and you're clutching a smooth, warm amber bracelet, its golden hue catching the light. It's not just jewelry. It's a shield against the unseen, a charm Viking women swore by. Let's be real. You probably won't survive a single night in their world without one of these bad boys. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment with your location and local time. I'm curious where you're chilling tonight. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're standing in a Viking settlement, maybe somewhere like Burka, where the air smells of pine and salt. Amber, that fossilized tree resin, wasn't just a shiny trinket to these folks, it was sacred. Historians know Vikings prized amber for its rarity and beauty, trading it across continents. But for women, it was more than bling. It was a spiritual battery. You can almost feel its warmth in your palm like it's alive. The Norse believed amber held the essence of the sun, a spark of divine energy. Why? Because it could catch fire when rubbed, glowing like a tiny star. That's not just cool, it's magic. In a world where gods and spirits are as real as the ground under your feet. Now let's get quirky. Some Viking women thought amber was literally the tears of Freya, the goddess of love and magic, frozen forever after she wept for her lost husband. Sounds dramatic, right? But imagine believing your bracelet carries a goddess's sorrow. That's some heavy-duty protection. Historians still argue whether this Freya tears story was widespread or just a poetic yarn spun by skalds around the fire. Either way, you're starting to see why Viking women didn't leave home without their amber. It wasn't just about looking good, it was about staying safe in a world crawling with unseen dangers. You're walking through the settlement now, passing women with amber beads woven into their braids bracelets stacked on their wrists. Each piece feels personal, like a tattoo of faith. The glow of amber against their woolen dresses catches your eye, and you wonder what's so special about this stuff. It's not just the look, it's the feel. Amber's smooth, almost soft texture makes it unlike any stone. You pick up a piece, and it's lighter than you expect, warm to the touch, like it's been sitting in sunlight. That warmth, that glow made it a symbol of life itself. In a harsh Nordic winter, where darkness swallows half the day, that's no small thing. Let's toss in a little sarcasm here, modern jewelry. Sure, it's cute, but it's not saving you from a troll's curse, is it? Viking women didn't mess around. Their amber was a spiritual Swiss Army knife protection status, even a bit of swagger. You're starting to get why they wore it close, like a best friend who's got your back. As you wander past a market stall piled with amber chunks, you overhear a trader boasting about his haul from the Baltic Sea. It's the good stuff, he says, straight from the gods. You smirk and you wonder if you would have bought the hype. Probably. In this world, you'd want that glow on your wrist too. So you're hooked now, right? Amber's not just a pretty rock. It's a piece of Viking soul. You're ready to dive deeper to see how these women turn this glowing resin into something sacred. But for now, you're still soaking in the vibe of this place, the hum of voices, the flicker of amber in the firelight. It's a world where belief is power, and you're just getting started. You're back in the Viking settlement, the air thick with the scent of wood smoke and damp wool. You're standing in a cramped workshop where a woman hunches over a workbench, her fingers deftly shaping a lump of amber. It's not just crafting, it's a ritual. The amber glows faintly under her touch, like it's whispering secrets. You're about to see how Viking women turned raw resin into protective bracelets, each one a talisman against the chaos of their world. It's a process that's half art, half magic, and you're close enough to hear the soft scrape of her tools. The woman, let's call her Astrid, is no amateur. Historical records show Viking artisans were skilled at working amber, especially in places like Ribe or Hedeby, where workshops churned out jewelry for the elite. Astrid's got a pile of raw amber chunks, some cloudy, some clear as honey, all fished from the Baltic Sea's shores. She picks one up, turning it in the firelight, checking for cracks. It's not just about beauty. She's looking for the right vibe, the piece that feels alive. You notice her muttering under her breath, maybe a prayer to Freya, maybe just cursing a stubborn knot in the resin. Either way, it's personal. Here's the quirky bit. Some Vikings believed amber could trap spirits like a bug caught in its sticky embrace. A cloudy piece might hold a mischievous sprite, so Astrid's careful, choosing only the clearest chunks for her bracelets. She heats a bronze tool in the fire, its tip glowing red, and presses it into the amber to shape it. No power tools here, just muscle and patience. You're impressed, but let's be real. Your DIY skills wouldn't survive 5 minutes in this workshop. The amber's soft enough to carve, but tricky, prone to splitting if you rush. Astrid doesn't rush. She's aiming for a smooth round bead big enough to string onto a leather cord. You watch her drill a hole with a tiny hand bow drill, the bit spinning like a dancer. It's hypnotic, the kind of thing that makes you forget the howling wind outside. Historians still argue whether these bracelets were purely decorative or always had a spiritual purpose. Some say the act of crafting itself was a ritual, each bead infused with intent. Astrid's focus suggests they're onto something. She's not just making jewelry, she's forging protection. You lean closer, catching the faint, piney scent of the amber as she polishes it with a cloth. It's warm now, almost alive, and you get why Viking women love this stuff. It's not just the glow, it's the feel like holding a piece of the sun. Astrid strings the bead onto a cord, tying it with a knot that's probably older than your hometown. She slips the bracelet onto her wrist, and you swear it looks like it belongs there, like it's part of her. Let's toss in a joke. Modern jewelers use lasers and 3D printers, but Astrid's out here with a hot stick and vibes. Respect. You're starting to see the bracelet as more than an accessory. It's a statement, a shield, a piece of her world. She catches you staring and grins like she knows you're out of your depth. Try it, she says, handing you a half-finished bead. You fumble, nearly dropping it, and she laughs. Yeah, you're not cut out for this, but you're learning. The workshop's getting warm now, the fire's spitting embers. Astrid's already on to the next bead, her hand steady as ever. You're struck by how much care goes into each one, how every bracelet is a story. You're not just watching craftsmanship, you're seeing belief take shape. And as you stand there, the amber's glow feels like it's pulling you deeper into this world where every tool, every bead carries a purpose bigger than itself. You're still in the Viking settlement, the workshop's warmth lingering on your skin as you step outside into the crisp air. The skies are bruised purple, and you can hear the distant crash of waves. You're clutching an imaginary amber bracelet, its glow faint but steady like a heartbeat. Now you're diving into the divine side of things, why Viking women believed their amber bracelets were blessed by the gods themselves. It's not just jewelry. It's a direct line to the Norse pantheon, and you're about to feel the weight of that power. Historical records like sagas and archaeological finds show the Norse saw amber as a gift from the gods, especially Freya, the goddess of love, beauty, and satyr magic that could twist fate. Viking women wore amber bracelet to channel her protection, believing the resin's golden spark was her divine essence. You're walking past a small shrine now, a wooden carving of Freya adorned with amber beads. The air feels heavier here, like the goddess is watching. You slip your bracelet on, and it's like plugging into a cosmic Wi-Fi, sudden strength, a little courage, maybe even a smirk. Freya's got your back, or so you hope. Here's the quirky tidbit: some Vikings thought amber was connected to Thor's lightning. Rub it, and it sparks right. They figured it held a piece of his thunderous power, a mini Mjolnir for your wrist. No wonder they wore it in storms. Imagine you're out there, rain pelting your face, clutching amber like it's a divine taser. You chuckle at the thought, but in this world, you'd probably do the same. Modern science says it's just static electricity. But try telling that to a Viking, shielding her kids from a tempest. You're moving through the village now, passing women whose amber bracelets clink softly as they work. Each one feels like a prayer, a link to the divine. Historians still argue whether amber's godly connection was universal or just a regional belief. Some say it was more about trade value than spirituality in places like Denmark. But here, in this moment, you feel the faith. The bracelet's warmth is real, grounding you as you dodge a muddy puddle. You're starting to get why these women trusted it. It's not just about gods. It's about feeling untouchable in a world where danger's always lurking. Let's toss in a joke your smartwatch might track steps, but it's not channeling Thor's lightning. Is it lame? You're imagining yourself as one of these women now? Your amber bracelet, a constant reminder of divine favor. You pass a storyteller by the fire, his voice low, spinning tales of Freya's golden tears turning into amber when they hit the earth. It's poetic, sure, but you're buying it. The bracelet feels heavier now, like it's carrying those stories too. You glance at a woman nearby, her wrist stacked with amber beads, each one polished to a shine. She's not just wearing jewelry, she's wearing belief. The wind picks up and you pull your cloak tighter, the amber bracelet catching the last of the firelight. You're starting to see it everywhere, on wrists, around necks, even sewn into clothing. It's like the whole village is glowing with divine protection. You wonder what it'd be like to believe in something so fiercely that a piece of resin becomes your shield. You're not there yet, but you're closer than you were. The gods feel real here, their presence woven into every bead, every story, every glance. As you wander toward the edge of the settlement, the shrine's glow fades behind you. You're still holding that imaginary bracelet, its warmth, a quiet comfort. You're not just a visitor anymore. You're part of this world, if only for a moment. The gods are watching, and your ambers got their attention. Now, what happens when those divine powers are put to the test against something darker? You're trudging through the Viking settlement now, the wind biting at your cheeks, your amber bracelet a warm pulse against your wrist. The village is quieter tonight, the stars sharp above, but there's an unease in the air, like something's watching from the shadows. You're about to learn why Viking women clung to their amber bracelets, not just for divine favor, but to ward off evil spirits that could ruin your day faster than a bad Wi-Fi signal. This isn't just superstition, it's survival, and you're feeling the chill of it. Historical evidence like runestones and sagas shows the Norse believed in a world teeming with spirits, some friendly, others not so much. Viking women wore amber bracelets as a shield against malevolent forces like Draugr undead creeps, who'd make your zombie apocalypse look tame, or mischievous Landveta spirits tied to the land. You're passing a flickering torch, now its light, catching the amber's glow. It's like a tiny force field, and you're not laughing. In this world where a bad harvest or a sudden storm could mean death, you'd want all the protection you could get. Here's the quirky bit. Some Vikings thought amber could literally trap evil spirits inside its resin, like a bug in a spiderweb. You're imagining a particularly nasty spirit, say a troll's bad vibe, getting stuck in your bracelet, neutralized by its golden glow. It's a wild idea, but you're kind of into it. You rub the bracelet, half expecting it to zap something. Nothing happens, but the warmth feels reassuring, like a hug from a skeptical friend. Let's be honest, your modern ghost-busting kit is probably just a flashlight and a prayer. So who's judging Eve? You're weaving through the village now, noticing how women touch their amber bracelets when they pass certain places, a gnarled tree, a shadowy alley. It's instinct, like checking your phone before a meeting. Historians still argue whether amber's protective role was purely spiritual or a mix of practical placebo. Did it actually keep spirits away or just make you feel braver? You're leaning toward the latter, but when a raven caws overhead, you grip your bracelet a little tighter. It's not just about spirits, it's about the fear of the unknown, and amber's glow is a middle finger to that darkness. Let's toss in a joke. Imagine trying to pitch amber bracelets on a Viking infomercial. Tired of Draugr crashing your longhouse party? Get AmberGuard now with 100% more glow. You smirk, but you're starting to get it. You pass a woman whispering to her child, pointing at her bracelet like it's a superhero shield. She's teaching her to trust it to feel safe. You're not a mom, but you get the vibe. Protection isn't just physical, it's emotional. That bracelet is her anchor in a world where the line between life and death feels razor thin. The settlement's edge is near now, where the forest looms dark and thick. You hear stories of spirits lurking there, waiting to trick travelers. Your bracelet feels heavier, like it's soaking up the tension. You're not sure if it's Freya's blessing or just your imagination but you're glad it's there. You glance at a woman nearby, her amber beads clinking as she adjusts her cloak. She meets your eyes, and there's a shared understanding. Whatever's out there, you've got this glow. It's not foolproof, but it's something, and in this world, something is everything. As you turn back toward the longhouse, the torchlight dances on your bracelet. You're starting to feel the weight of this belief, the way it shapes every step. Evil spirits might be real or not, but the fear is, and amber's your way of staring it down. You're ready to see how this protection plays out in the chaos of daily life, where spirits aren't the only threat. You're back in the heart of the Viking settlement, the longhouses' smoky warmth wrapping around you like a blanket. Your amber bracelet feels like a quiet companion, its glow catching the firelight as you move through the bustle of daily life. You're about to see how Viking women wove amber into their everyday routines, not just for spiritual protection, but for practical grit and a dash of swagger. It's not just about warding off spirits, it's about living with purpose, and you're right in the thick of it. Historical records like those from excavations in York and Burka show Viking women wore amber bracelets as a constant in their daily grind, whether tending livestock, weaving wool, or bartering at the market. These weren't delicate ornaments. They were tough, practical, and tied to survival. You're trailing a woman named Sigrid, now her amber beads clinking as she hauls a basket of fish from the dock. The bracelet's not just pretty, it's a reminder of her strength, her connection to Freya's power. You try lifting a basket yourself, and oof, your gym membership isn't helping. Sigrid doesn't flinch. Her amber's got her grounded. Here's the quirky bit. Some women believed amber could calm fussy babies. Picture this. You're rocking a screaming toddler, and instead of a pacifier, you slip an amber bead into their tiny fist. Supposedly, it worked like a charm, soothing them with its warmth. You're skeptical, but you see Sigrid's kid clutching a bead quiet as a mouse, and you're half convinced. Modern science might call it a placebo, but in a world without pediatricians, you'd take any win. You're tempted to try it on your next Zoom call meltdown. You're following Sigrid to the market now, where stalls overflow with furs, iron tools, and yet more amber. She trades a fish for a loaf of bread, her bracelet glinting as she gestures. It's not just decoration. It's a signal of her status, her savvy. Historians still argue whether amber's daily use was more about practicality or mysticism. Did it just look good, or was it always a spiritual anchor? You're betting on both. Sigrid's confidence, the way she touches her bracelet before haggling, feels like a ritual. It's like she's channeling Freya's charm to outwit the trader. Let's toss in a joke your smartwatch might ping your heart rate, but Sigrid's amber is boosting her bargaining stat. You're impressed. You notice other women doing the same, touching their bracelets before tough tasks, like they're drawing on an inner battery. You try it, mimicking their moves. And yeah, it's silly, but the amber's warmth makes you feel a bit bolder. You're bartering for a wool cloak now, and when the trader tries to overcharge you, flash your bracelet like it's a VIP pass. He doesn't budge, but you feel like a boss anyway. The day's wearing on and you're exhausted just watching Sigrid. She's milking goats, mending a net, and still has time to braid her daughter's hair, all with that amber bracelet gleaming. It's practical, tied tight so it doesn't snag, but it's also her shield, her spark. You're starting to see it everywhere, on women hauling water, kneading dough, even scolding rowdy kids. It's not just about spirits or gods. It's about facing life's grind with something solid, something warm. Your bracelet feels heavier now, like it's soaking up their resilience. As the sun dips low, painting the sky orange, you pause by the longhouse door. Sigrid still moving her amber, catching the last light. You're struck by how seamlessly it fits into her life, protection, pride, practicality, all in one glow. You're ready to follow this amber trail further, to see how it traveled across Viking trade routes, connecting these women to a bigger world. You're standing at the edge of the Viking settlement, the salty tang of the sea in your nose, your amber bracelet warm against your wrist. The harbor's alive with longships bobbing on the waves, their dragon-headed prows glaring into the mist. You're about to follow the journey of amber itself, tracing the sprawling trade routes that brought this glowing resin to Viking women's wrists. It's not just a local treasure, it's a global obsession, and you're hitching a ride on this ancient supply chain. Historical records like those from the Viking trading hub of Hedeby confirm amber was a hot commodity, moving from the Baltic Sea shores to markets as far as Baghdad. You're watching a trader unload a sack of raw amber, its golden chunks glinting like pirate loot. These pieces started their journey in places like modern-day Poland or Lithuania, where resin washed up on beaches or was dug from ancient forests. You imagine Viking ships slicing through stormy seas, carrying amber to trade for silk, silver, or spices. Your bracelet feels like a passport now linking you to a world way bigger than this muddy village. Here's the quirky bit. Some traders swore amber could float a sea stone, blessed by Njord, the god of the ocean. You're picturing a Viking sailor tossing a chunk into the water to test it, probably losing a week's wages when it sinks. Spoiler, amber does float in salt water, which made it easier to spot on beaches. You're tempted to try it, but the harbor's too crowded, and you're not keen on diving into icy waves. Modern beachcombers still hunt amber this way, but you're betting they don't pray to Njord first. You're trailing the trader now, his cart creaking under the weight of amber and furs. He's headed for a ship bound for Dublin, where Viking women will snap up these beads for their own bracelets. Historians still argue whether amber's value was purely economic or tied to its spiritual clout. Did traders care about its protective powers or just its price per pound? You're leaning toward both. The traders haggling with a ship captain, gesturing at an amber bead like it's a sacred relic. You smirk. He's definitely hyping the Freya's Tears angle to jack up the price. Let's toss in a joke. Imagine a Viking Yelp review for this trader. 5 stars, great amber, but his divine glow sales pitch needs work. You're chuckling, but you get why the hype matters. You're watching women at the harbor eyeing the amber like it's the latest iPhone drop. They're not just buying jewelry. They're investing in protection, status, maybe a bit of hope. You slip your bracelet on tighter, feeling its warmth. It's traveled farther than you ever will from Baltic shores to this windswept dock. The trader's packing up now, his amber stowed in a chest bound for distant markets. You're struck by how this little bead on your wrist connects you to places you've never seen, Byzantium maybe, or the rivers of Rus. It's not just a charm, it's a piece of the world. You're starting to feel the weight of those trade routes, the hands that passed this amber along each one, adding to its story. You glance at a woman nearby, her bracelet stacked with beads from who knows where. She nods like you're in on the same secret. As the ship's sails catch the wind, you linger by the harbor, the ambers glow steady against the fading light. You're ready to dive deeper to see how these bracelets weren't just traded, but blessed, infused with sacred energy in rituals that made them more than mere objects. For now, though, you're caught up in the hum of the docks, the clink of amber, the pulse of a world on the move. You're standing in a clearing just outside the Viking settlement, the air heavy with the scent of pine and damp earth. A bonfire crackles, casting long shadows as a group of women gathers in a circle, their amber bracelets glittering like tiny suns. You're about to witness a ritual, one that infuses these bracelets with sacred energy, turning them into more than just jewelry. It's a moment where belief becomes power, and you're close enough to feel the hum of it, your own amber bracelet warm against your skin. Historical accounts like those in Norse sagas describe rituals where Viking women invoked divine protection, often led by a seeress skilled in cedar, the Norse art of magic. You're watching one now, her voice low and rhythmic, chanting words you don't understand but feel in your bones. She holds an amber bead high, its glow catching the firelight, and the women around her mirror the gesture, their bracelets raised like offerings. This isn't just a ceremony, it's a charging station for their charms, and you're caught up in the intensity, like you've stumbled into a Viking power-up sequence. Here's the quirky bit. Some believed amber needed to drink the fire's light to activate its protective magic. You're picturing these women holding their bracelets over the flames, half expecting them to toast marshmallows while they're at it. It's a wild image, but the seeress's focus is no joke. She's whispering to Freya, asking for her blessing to shield the wearer from harm. You're half tempted to try it, but your chanting skills are rusty, and you probably just mumble something about coffee. Still, the amber's warmth feels stronger now, like it's soaking up the ritual's energy. You're standing at the circle's edge, watching the women pass their bracelets through the smoke, their faces solemn but fierce. Historians still argue whether these rituals were purely spiritual or a way to bind communities. Did the amber actually hold divine power, or was it about shared belief? You're leaning toward the latter. But when the seeress locks eyes with you, her gaze sharp as a blade, you're not so sure. Your bracelet feels heavier, like it's carrying the weight of her words. You're starting to get why these women trusted this process. It's not just about the gods, it's about claiming control in a chaotic world. Let's toss in a joke. Imagine pitching this ritual on a Viking reality show. Tonight, on Charm My Bracelet, we're firing up the sacred vibes. You smirk, but the mood here is anything but funny. The women are chanting now, their voices weaving together like a song, and you're caught in a rhythm. One of them, a young woman with braids, slips her newly blessed bracelet onto her wrist, her fingers lingering on the beads. It's like she's arming herself not just against spirits, but against life's uncertainties. You try at mimicking her, and the amber's glow feels like a promise. The fire's dying down now, embers floating into the night sky. The seeress scatters herbs into the flames, and the air fills with a sharp, sweet scent. You're not sure if it's the smoke or the ritual, but your bracelet feels different, alive almost. You're remembering Sigrid from the market, her confidence tied to her amber, and you wonder if she stood in a circle like this, charging her own charm. The women are dispersing now, their bracelets gleaming, as they head back to the settlement. You follow the forest quiet around you, the amber's warmth, a steady pulse. As you reach the longhouse, the ritual's energy lingers like a song stuck in your head. You're starting to see these bracelets as more than objects. They're vessels of intent, of belief. You're ready to explore how this power translated to the women who wore them, how amber became a badge of status and strength in their world. You're back in the Viking settlement, the longhouse bustling with chatter and the clink of wooden cups. Your amber bracelet glinting in the firelight, a quiet reminder of the ritual you just witnessed. Now you're diving into how these bracelets weren't just spiritual shields, but badges of power, marking Viking women's status in a world where strength and savvy ruled. It's not just about protection anymore. It's about who you are, and you're walking among women who wear their amber like a crown. Historical evidence like grave finds from Gotland shows amber jewelry was often buried with high-status women, suggesting it signaled wealth and influence. You're following a woman named Thora, her wrists stacked with amber beads, each one polished to a mirror shine. She's not just another villager, she's a landowner, a weaver of deals as much as she weaves wool. Her bracelet isn't just pretty, it's a flex like a Viking version of a power suit. You're trying to stand a little taller, mimicking her vibe, but your imaginary cloak keeps slipping. Thora doesn't notice. She's too busy commanding respect from a trader who's clearly out of his depth. Here's the quirky bit. Some women used amber beads to settle debts. You're picturing Thora tossing a bead onto the table like it's a mic drop, wiping out a favor owed. It's wild, but archaeological finds hint at amber being a kind of currency among the elite. You're tempted to try it, maybe trade your bracelet for a loaf of bread, but you'd probably just get laughed at. Modern money's boring by comparison. Imagine paying your rent with glowing resin. You're grinning at the thought, but Thora's bracelet reminds you this stuff was serious business. You're following her through the market now, where her amber draws eyes like a magnet. It's not just about wealth, it's about authority. Historians still argue whether amber's status was tied more to its rarity or its spiritual weight. Did Thora's bracelet scream, "I'm rich" or "I'm blessed"? You're betting on both. She touches her beads before speaking, like they're fueling her confidence. You try it, and yeah, maybe it's a placebo, but it makes you feel like you could haggle for a longship. You don't, because you'd sink it, but the vibe's there. Let's toss in a joke. Imagine Thora on a Viking LinkedIn profile. Skills land management, cedar serving, looks with amber bling. You're chuckling, but you're starting to get it. You're watching other women now, some with a single bead, others with stacks like Thora's. Each tells a story, newlywed mother chieftain's wife. It's like a social code, and you're cracking it. You pass a young woman, her single amber bead a gift from her mother, maybe from that ritual by the fire. She's not Thora, but her amber says she's on her way. The market's winding down now, and you're struck by how amber levels the playing field. Even women with less land or fewer cows can wear a bead, claiming a slice of that power. You're remembering Sigrid from the market, her swagger, and you wonder if her bracelet came from a woman like Thora, passed down or traded. It's like a thread tying them: status, strength, spirits. Your own bracelet feels heavier, like it's carrying their stories too. You glance at Thora, now settling a dispute between farmers. She's glowing, and nobody's questioning her. As you head back toward the longhouse, the air cooling, you're starting to feel amber's power. It's not just jewelry. It's a badge, a bond. You're ready to hear the myths that made amber glow stories older than this village. You're settled by the longhouse fire now, the crackle of logs mixing with the low hum of voices. Your amber bracelet glows softly, like it's soaking up the warmth of the flames, and you're ready to hear the myths that made this resin more than just a rock. Viking women didn't just wear amber, they believed it carried divine stories, tales of gods and magic that turned a bead into a piece of the cosmos. You're leaning in like a kid at story time, but with a bit more skepticism and a lot more wool. Historical texts, like the Poetic Edda, mention amber as Freya's tears, a myth that gave it sacred weight in Norse culture. You're listening to a skald, now his voice weaving a tale of Freya weeping for her lost husband Odr, her golden tears falling to the earth and hardening into amber. It's dramatic, sure, but you're buying it. Imagine wearing a goddess's sorrow on your wrist like a divine mood ring. You touch your bracelet, half expecting it to feel wet, and you're not sure if it's the firelight or the story, but it seems to shimmer. This myth wasn't just poetry. It made every bead a link to Freya's power, a reminder of love and loss. Here's the quirky bit. Some Vikings thought amber was the spit of Ymir, the primordial giant whose body formed the world. You're picturing a cosmic loogie hardening into your bracelet, and yeah, it's gross, but kind of epic. The skald's not mentioning this one, probably too weird for the crowd, but you're grinning at the idea. Imagine telling Thora her power suit is giant spit. She'd probably deck you. Modern science says amber's just tree resin. But you're betting Ymir's version would have sold better at the market. You're glancing around now, noticing how the women listen, their amber bracelets catching the fire's glow. Each bead feels like a story, a tiny piece of myth you can hold. Historians still argue whether these tales were literal beliefs or just poetic flair. Did Viking women really think their bracelets were Freya's tears? Or was it a metaphor to hype the bling? You're leaning toward belief. The way Sigrid touched her bracelet at the market like it was more than jewelry felt too real. You try it rubbing your bead, and it's warm like it's whispering back. Okay, maybe that's the mead talking. Let's toss in a joke. Imagine a Viking rom-com where Freya's tears are the ultimate breakup gift. Sorry, babe, here's some amber, cry it out. You smirk, but the skald's tale is pulling you back. He's describing how amber's glow holds the sun's fire stolen by Freya to light the dark winters. It's beautiful, and you're seeing why these women wore it close like a portable campfire. You're imagining Thora, her stacked bracelets, a whole saga of divine tears and solar sparks. Her status makes sense. Now, those myths aren't just stories. They're her armor, The fire's popping, and you're lost in the skald's words, each one painting amber as a bridge to the gods. You're remembering that ritual by the fire the seeresses chant, and you wonder if she wove these myths into her magic. Your bracelet feels heavier, like it's carrying Freya's tears, Ymir's spit, maybe even a bit of that sunfire. You glance at a woman nearby, her amber beads woven into her braids, and she's nodding along like the story's part of her. It's not just myth, it's identity, and you're starting to feel it too. As the skald's voice fades, the firelight dances on your bracelet. You're ready to see how these myths played out in darker times when amber wasn't just a story, but a shield for families facing battle's shadow. For now, though, you're wrapped in the glow, the story's sinking in like a lullaby. You're huddled in the longhouse now, the fire's glow casting shadows that dance like spirits on the walls. Outside, the wind howls, carrying whispers of war raiders spotted off the coast, their longships slicing through the dark. Your amber bracelet feels warm, a steady pulse against your wrist, and you're about to see how Viking women leaned on these charms when battle loomed not just for themselves, but for their families. This isn't just about myths or status anymore. It's about survival, and the air's thick with tension. Historical records like the sagas and finds from warrior graves show Viking women often stayed behind during raids guarding homes and kin, while men sailed for glory or death. You're watching a woman named Ingrid, now her amber bracelet glinting as she checks the door's bolts, her kids huddled by the hearth. She's not a shield maiden, but her strength's no less fierce. She's holding the line, and that bracelet's her anchor. You're clutching your own feeling, its warmth, and you get it when axes clash far away. This glow's what keeps you steady. Here's the quirky bit. Some women believed amber could guide lost souls home. You're picturing Ingrid tying a bead onto her son's cloak before he sailed, whispering a prayer to Freya to bring him back. It's half hope, half magic, but you're tearing up a little. Imagine believing a bead could cheat death. Modern folks might call it wishful thinking, but when your world's a coin toss between feast and famine, you'd knot that bead on too. You're tempted to touch your bracelet like it could ping a GPS for someone you love. You're moving through the longhouse now, seeing women clutch their amber as they share news of the raid. It's not just jewelry, it's a lifeline. Historians still argue whether amber's role in crises was spiritual or psychological. Did it really ward off danger or just make you feel less alone? You're leaning toward the latter. But when Ingrid murmurs a chant over her bracelet, eyes fierce with focus, you're not so sure. You try it, whispering something vague about safety, and the amber's warmth feels like an answer, even if it's just your nerves settling. Let's toss in a joke. Imagine a Viking war prep checklist. Axe check, shield check, amber bracelet to yeet bad vibes, double check. You smirk, but the mood's heavy. Ingrid's teaching her daughter to string an amber bead her hand steady despite the fear in her eyes. It's not just about protection, it's about legacy, passing down courage in a glowing resin. You're remembering Thora's market swagger, Sigrid's market grit, and you see it here too. Amber's a thread tying these women to each other, to their gods, to hope. The fire is crackling low now, and you're struck by how quiet the longhouse is, everyone waiting for news from the sea. Your bracelet feels heavier, like it's soaking up their worry, their strength. You glance at Ingrid, her amber catching the last embers, and you wonder if she believes it'll bring her husband home. You're not sure you do, but you're rooting for her. You're ready to see how amber's glow carried these women through loss, how it became a symbol of resilience when the world turned dark. You're still in the longhouse, the fire now, a faint glow, its embers barely holding back the chill creeping through the walls. The news came at dawn, the raid failed, and many won't return. The air's heavy with grief, but you're watching how Viking women, their amber bracelets catching the dim light, turn loss into resilience. Your own bracelet feels like a quiet witness warm against your wrist as you see these women lean on their charms to rebuild, to endure. This isn't just about survival anymore. It's about carrying on when the world's kicked you down. Historical evidence like burial sites in Uppsala shows Viking women were often the backbone of their communities, managing households and rituals after losses from raids or illness. You're following Ingrid again, her amber beads clinking as she kneels by the hearth, her face set like stone. She's mourning her husband, but she's also portioning out the last of the grain planting for winter with her kids watching. Her bracelet isn't just a charm. It's a reminder she's still here, still fighting. You touch your own, and it's like a nod to her strength, though you're not sure you could match it. Here's the quirky bit. Some Vikings believed amber held memories like a keepsake of the dead. You're imagining Ingrid rubbing her bracelet, thinking it traps a piece of her husband's laugh, his voice. It's poetic, maybe a stretch, but you're feeling it. Imagine wearing a bead that feels like a hug from someone gone. Modern grief apps can't touch that. You'd trade your phone for a bead like hers. You're tempted to whisper to your bracelet like it could store a memory too, but you just hold it tighter instead. You're moving through the settlement now, seeing women with amber bracelets at work, mending nets, tending goats, teaching kids to carve runes. It's not loud resilience, it's quiet, stubborn. Historians still argue whether amber's role in grief was symbolic or practical. Did it really comfort, or was it just a cultural habit? You're leaning toward comfort. The way Ingrid grips her bracelet when she speaks her husband's name feels too raw. You try it, holding your bead when you think of something heavy, and the warmth, like a deep breath, steadying you. Let's toss in a joke. Imagine a Viking grief counselor's pitch. Lost your warrior. Try amber therapy. Glow your way through. You smirk, but it's hollow. Ingrid's showing her daughter how to tie an amber bead into her braid, a small act that feels massive. It's not just about memory. It's about teaching survival, passing down that glow. You're remembering Sigrid's market hustle, Thora's command, and now Ingrid's quiet steel ambers, their thread weaving through joy, power, loss. You're seeing it everywhere, on wrists, in braids, even tucked into a baby's blanket. The settlement's stirring now, life creeping back despite the grief. Your bracelet feels heavier, like it's carrying their stories, Ingrid's endurance, Thora's authority, Sigrid's grit. You glance at Ingrid, her amber faint in the morning light, and you're struck by how it's not just a charm, but a badge of what she's weathered. You're ready to see how amber's legacy stretched beyond this village, how its glow shaped Viking women's lives across generations. You're standing at the edge of the Viking settlement, the morning mist curling around your boots. your amber bracelet a warm pulse against your wrist. The village is waking up, smoke rising from long houses, but you're looking beyond toward the horizon where trade routes and tales carry amber's glow to new generations. You're about to trace how Viking women's amber bracelets became a legacy not just in their time, but across centuries, shaping lives far beyond this muddy shore. It's not just a charm anymore, it's a timeless thread, and you're holding one end. Historical records like those from the Oseberg ship burial show amber jewelry was often passed down mother to daughter, carrying stories and status through time. You're watching a young girl now, maybe Ingrid's daughter, clutching a single amber bead her mother gave her, its surface worn smooth by years of touch. She's braiding it into her hair, her fingers careful, like she's weaving in her family's strength. Your own bracelet feels like an heirloom, now heavy with the weight of Thora's power, Sigurd's hustle, Ingrid's grit. You're wondering, who'll wear this girl's bead next, what it'll mean to them? Here's the quirky bit. Some Vikings believed amber grew stronger with age, like a fine wine or a grumpy old warrior. You're picturing this bead already old as the hills, soaking up courage from every hand that held it. It's a wild idea, but you're into it. Imagine a bracelet that levels up with each generation. Modern heirlooms are nice, but your grandma's ring isn't boosting your spiritual stats, is it? You're tempted to rub your bracelet like it's charging with Viking vibes, and it's warm enough to make you wonder. You're walking through the settlement now, seeing amber everywhere on wrists and braids, even strung above a cradle. It's not just jewelry, it's a living legacy. Historians still argue whether amber's enduring role was about tradition or belief. Did it stay sacred because of Freya's tears, or just because it looked good? You're leaning toward belief. The way the girl touches her bead like it's a piece of her mom feels too deep for fashion. You try it, holding your bracelet like it's a link to someone long gone, and the warmth's like a handshake across time. Let's toss in a joke. Imagine a Viking family tree, but instead of names, it's just amber beads labeled Badass Mom Number 1, Badass Mom Number 2. You grin, but the thought sticks. You're passing a market stall where an old woman trades an amber bead for a knife, her hand shaky, but sure. That bead's probably seen more winters than you were carried from some Baltic shore to this moment. You're remembering the trade routes, the ships that brought amber to Dublin, Baghdad, and you realize it's not just a Viking thing. It's a world thing, connecting women across borders, eras. The sun's climbing now, burning off the mist, and you're struck by how amber's glow feels eternal, like it's outlived the longhouses, the raids, even the gods. Your bracelet's a piece of that, a tiny spark of sun that's been passed from Astrid's workshop to Ingrid's grief, to this girl's braid. You glance at her, her amber catching the light, and you're sure it'll outlive her too, carrying her story to someone new. You're ready to wrap this journey, to see how amber's light still flickers in our world, a Viking whisper in modern hands. You're stepping out of the Viking settlement, now the sounds of the village clinking, amber creaking carts, children's laughter fading behind you. Your amber bracelet feels warm, almost alive as you stand on a modern shore, waves lapping at your feet, the Baltic Sea stretching before you. You're about to connect the dots to see how the glow of Viking women's amber bracelets still flickers in our world, a whisper of their strength, their myths, their resilience, It's not just history. It's a spark that's never gone out, and you're holding it close. Archaeological finds like those in museums across Scandinavia show amber's legacy didn't die with the Vikings. You're picturing a display case in Stockholm, a Viking woman's bracelet, lying under glass, its beads worn but glowing, like it's still ready to ward off a draught. Modern jewelers draw on this, crafting amber pieces that echo Astrid's workshop, though, with electric tools instead of hot sticks. You're thinking of markets today, maybe in Gdansk or Copenhagen, where amber beads are sold, some claiming they soothe teething babies or calm stress. You smirk, remembering Sigrid's kid clutching that bead, and you're not sure science backs it, but the belief feels familiar, like Freya's tears still linger. Here's the quirky bit. Some modern folks wear amber for grounding energy, like it's a Viking crystal trend. You're imagining Thora rolling her eyes at a yoga influencer, hyping her bracelets vibes. But you're into it. Imagine a bead that's seen Viking raids now, chilling in a meditation studio. It's wild how amber's magic has morphed from trapping spirits to boosting chakras. You're tempted to touch your bracelet like it's got a bit of that ancient juice, and its warmth makes you wonder if Ingrid's chant still echoes somewhere in its glow. You're strolling along the beach now, eyes scanning for amber like those Viking traders hunting sea stones. Historians note amber's trade never stopped. It's still prized from Baltic shores to global markets. You're thinking of its journey, once bartered for silk in Baghdad, now sold online with a Viking-inspired tag. It's not just a rock, it's a story connecting you to Astrid's craft, Thora's power, Ingrid's grief, that girl's braid. Your bracelet feels like a time machine linking you to women who faced storms, spirits, and loss with a glow on their wrist. You're wondering if your own keepsakes, a ring or locket, could carry that kind of weight someday. Let's toss in a joke. Imagine a Viking ghost spotting your amber bracelet. Nice glow, but where's your axe? You laugh, but the thought sticks. You're passing a modern stall, amber beads glinting under LED lights, and you see a woman pick one up, turning it like Astrid did, feeling its warmth. She's not praying to Freya, but there's a spark in her eye, like she's claiming something, strength maybe, or hope. Historians still debate amber's power. Was it divine, psychological, or just pretty? You're betting on all three. The way your bracelet feels heavy with stories isn't just in your head. The sun's dipping low now, painting the sea gold, and your bracelet catches the light like it's winking at you. You're struck by how amber's outlasted empire's gods, even the longhouses carrying Viking women's legacy to your wrist. You're thinking of Ingrid's quiet steel, Thora's command, Sigrid's hustle, and that girl, her bead a promise to keep going. Your journey's ending, but the glow's not. You're ready to carry this spark home, a piece of their fire, their faith, their fight, still warm in your hand. You've left the Viking world behind, sitting now on a driftwood log by the Baltic shore, the evening breeze cool against your skin as the sky fades to dusk. Your amber bracelet warm from your wrist feels like a bridge between you and the Viking women you've followed, Astrid, Sigrid, Thora, Ingrid, and that girl with her braided bead. You're reflecting on what their amber means in this modern age, a glow that's more than history. It's a call to carry their fire forward, Archaeological studies like those from Viking Age sites in Birka and Gotland show amber's role as a talisman, a status symbol, a memory keeper. You're thinking of those museum cases again, beads worn by women who faced storms and grief with stubborn resilience. Today, amber's still worn necklaces for teething toddlers, bracelets for energy balancing, or just because it's pretty. You're holding your bracelet up to the fading light, its honeyed glow unchanged from Astrid's workshop. It's not just a trinket. It's a whisper of their strength, their belief in something bigger than themselves. Here's the quirky bit. Some modern crafters claim amber remembers its origins like it holds the Baltic's ancient forests in its veins. You're picturing your bracelet sign, "I was there when Thora shut down that trader." It's a stretch, but you're smiling. Imagine a bead with a Viking attitude. Science says amber's just fossilized resin, but when you rub it, feeling that faint static spark, you're half convinced it's Thor's lightning or Freya's tears. You're tempted to whisper to it like Ingrid did, but you just let it warm your palm instead. You're reflecting now the sea's rhythm steady as a heartbeat. Amber's legacy isn't just in museums or markets, it's in how it makes you feel. You're thinking of Sigrid's market hustle, how her bracelet fueled her swagger. You try it, touching your bead, before imagining a tough challenge ahead. And yeah, it's silly, but you feel a spark of her grit. Historians still debate amber's power, spiritual, psychological, or just cultural, but you're leaning toward all three. It's not about trapping spirits anymore. It's about trapping courage, like Ingrid's quiet steel when she faced winter alone. Let's toss in a joke. Imagine pitching amber to a modern crowd. Step up, folks. Get your Viking vibe 100% Draugr-proof or your money back. You laugh, but the thought lingers. You're picturing that girl, Ingrid's daughter. Her bead a promise to keep going. Your bracelet feels like a promise too, not to fight raiders, but to face your own battles with a bit of their glow. You're remembering Thora's authority, how her amber was her crown, and you wonder what your bead could mean to someone a century from now. A story, maybe, or just a warm glow in a cold world. The stars are emerging the sea, a dark mirror. You're struck by how amber's outlasted Viking ships, sagas, even their gods. Yet it's still here on your wrist, in markets and memories. You're thinking of those women crafting, trading, praying, grieving, enduring, and how their amber tied them to each other, to their world, to you. Your journey's done, but the bracelet's not. You slip it back on its warmth, a quiet vow to carry their spark, their stubborn, glowing strength into your own tomorrow. You're curled up now, maybe under a cozy blanket, as the world outside quiets down, the gentle hum of the Baltic Sea in your mind. The amber bracelet on your wrist glows softly in the dim light, like a tiny star tying you to the Viking women you've met, Astrid, Sigrid, Thora, Ingrid, and that girl braiding her bead. As we close this bedtime tale, let's linger a moment, feeling the warmth of their amber, a spark that's traveled through time to light your dreams tonight. Historical records like Viking trade logs tell us amber was more than jewelry. It was a bridge across seas, a charm that held the glow of the gods. You're imagining your bracelet, its honeyed beads carrying Astrid's careful craft, Thora's bold command, Ingrid's quiet strength. Back then, it shielded them from spirits and storms, but now it's a reminder for you. You got a bit of their fire inside ready to face whatever challenges come your way. Maybe it's a big test, a tough day, or just a little worry your amber's there, whispering courage like Sigrid's swagger at the market. Here's a quirky thought to make you smile. Some folks today say, amber holds the whispers of ancient forests, like it's singing Viking lullabies. Picture Astrid chuckling, her hands busy with beads, saying lullabies. It's Freya's magic kid. But maybe they're onto something. Close your eyes for a second. Can you feel it? The bracelet's warmth, like a hug from those women, telling you to dream big, to be brave. Science might call it just resin, but when it catches the starlight, you're pretty sure it's got a sprinkle of Thor's spark or Freya's tears, ready to light up your ideas. You're stretching now the sea's rhythm in your heart, and you're thinking about those Viking women, how they crafted, traded, prayed, and kept going, their amber glowing through it all. Their legacy isn't just in old beads or museum cases. It's in you, in how you carry their glow. Picture Ingrid rationing grain with her bracelet clinking, and ask yourself, how can you save a bit of your own strength for tough days? Historians might wonder if amber's power was real, but you know it's real when you touch it, feeling Thora's confidence before a big moment, or Sigrid's grin when you need to shine. Let's share a giggle before we part. Imagine a Viking bedtime story app, narrated by Thora. Sleep tight. Or Freya's sending a draugr to tuck you in. You're laughing, but the thought sticks. That girl with her braided bead, she carried her mom's promise to keep going. And your bracelet's a promise too, not to fight trolls, but to wake up tomorrow a little braver, a little warmer. Maybe someday your bead will find a new hand, your kid a friend carrying your story just like Ingrid's did. The night's wrapping around you now, stars twinkling above the Baltic's dark waves. Your bracelet's warmth is a soft lullaby, linking you to those women crafting, surviving, glowing, and to yourself, right here. You're not a Viking, but you've got their spark, their stubborn light in this bead and in you. So snuggle down, let the amber's glow guide your dreams, and wake up ready to carry a Viking whisper into your world. Good night, and may Freya's tears light your way.